I have changed dramatically over the last 10 to 15 years. I have evolved and grown as a person so much. I've got people that can vouch for how much I have changed. I used to be so negative, pessimistic, very angry and short tempered. Some people would even call me a psycho. And they weren't wrong, to be honest. Like, I just had a lot of, I guess, bullshit going on in my life as a young person and didn't really know how to deal with it. And so, over the years, I have become this positive person that is high vibrational. And I don't know, I even help bring other people's vibrations up. It's crazy how I've just done this sort of like this 180 and completely changed and evolved into like a different person. And so this is why I wanted to make a video to try to inspire other people to want to change themselves for the better, because I know it can be done. Like I said, I have pretty much done a 180. It's almost like a personality change, and my life's improved so much because of it. So I wanted to just inspire other people. So hey guys, I'm Laura and I make videos that will awaken your awareness. So I want to teach you the things that I did to change myself from being this negative, pessimistic person who was just very angry to someone who's like positive, happy, high vibrational. And it's only 8 things and it's really easy to implement, to be honest. So the first thing is you just have to want to change. You get to that point where like you're kind of sick of your own bullshit, to be honest, and you're sick of just like, my life was literally in the gutter at one point. I literally had nothing going for me, like, you know, rock bottom. I didn't have any decent place to live. I didn't have a car, I didn't have a job, I didn't have money. I was starved. Like, my life was pretty much in the gutter. I was hanging around really bad crowds, like pretty much you'd call them scum, people that are in and out of jail, you know, hardcore drugs, things like that. I never got into the hardcore drugs myself, just weed, but and a little bit of alcohol. I never really got too much into alcohol, but I just spent a few years there just getting wasted every day because my life was just in the gutter, right? And so, like I said, it gets to that point where you're kind of just sick of it. You want to change, and so that's always the first step: wanting to change, wanting better for yourself. So when it comes to wanting this change, you have to understand that you need to have an identity shift. So that's the first step: wanting to change and going, right, I'm sick of being this person. Time to have an identity shift into someone better. The second thing I started doing was I listened to a lot of positive content. So energy is contagious. If you're hanging around negative, low vibe people like I was, that is going to drag your energy down to be low vibe as well. And that's exactly what was happening. I was in a really negative environment. And so when you start consuming positivity, there's so many people, like I have heaps of go-to people online, YouTube or social media, they just have a good energy about them and they just put out a lot of positive content. And so because energy is contagious, just by watching these people, it uplifts your energy. And getting positivity in your eyes and ears affects your mindset, it affects everything. It's just going to put you in a better state of being. So that's the second thing I did, is just getting lots of positivity into my eyes and ears every day. The third thing is you need to learn to have a perspective change, changing the way you look at things. And you can use what's called the reframe technique. So for example, I had a lot of anger towards my family and I didn't actually have a lot to do with them for quite a few years. One of the perspective changes I had was with my dad, who physically abandoned me. Like, I was like really young when he moved to a different country, and he lived there till I was about 12. So he wasn't really around much for my childhood, and I could never understand how could someone have kids and then just walk away, right? So it was almost like F you for it sort of thing, that sort of mindset and attitude. The perspective change I had using the reframe technique, because I had to go through the forgiveness process and forgive my dad. The reframe technique was that I had to acknowledge the fact that my dad had all these unhealed childhood wounds. He had a really bad childhood compared to most people. And so because of his unhealed childhood wounds, he was, an angry person that uses drugs and alcohol, and he can be abusive, right? And so the reframe technique I used, the perspective change was, because I was mad about him not being around, it was almost like, hang on a minute, if he was around, it would have affected me even more negatively because of his unhealed wounds and his abusive behavior and anger and things like that. It would have affected me even more negatively if he was around. So it's the reframe technique, changing the way I looked at things. Actually, in hindsight, it was a good thing that he was in a different country during my childhood. So that's what the reframe technique is. And so it comes down to having these perspective changes, because understand this, nothing in life has meaning other than the meaning you give it. And you have the power to change the meaning. So that's the same thing as the perspective change. Changing the meaning on things, and then you have the perspective change, right? So, for example, like if someone's living in a place where it rains a lot, the meaning they give to rain is negative. Someone who lives in a dry place who hardly gets rain, when they do get rain, they're so happy about it. It's a good thing for them. So nothing in life has meaning other than the meaning that you're giving it, and you have the power to change that meaning. So learn to have these perspective changes, learn to use that reframe technique. Number 4, and this is really important, you have to drop the victim mindset. So I carried this victim mindset around with me, like, back when my life was in the gutter, I was in rock bottom. Poor me, everything bad happens to me. You know what I mean? You're carrying this poor me attitude around. Your mindset is key in life. Your mindset's going to determine how well you're going to do in life, how much success you're going to get. And if you have a victim mindset, you're never going to be successful. You'll never get far. So you've got to drop it. Now, how to do this? There's a simple thing where it's a perspective change as well, right? Instead of looking at situations like a negative situation, instead of looking at like it's happening to me, because that's putting you in the victim mindset. Why does this have to happen to me? You change it to it's happening to me, to it's happening for me. That is powerful, and that's how you get out of this victim mindset, right? Because when you're saying it's happening for me, you're acknowledging that even though it's a negative situation, you know that it's going to serve you in some type of way. There's going to be something positive that's going to come out of it. You just may not see it or know it yet, but you know that it's going to serve you in some type of way. Have you ever looked back, like I've done this, where I've looked back at negative situations that happened in my life, and at the time it sucked, and I was like, didn't like the fact that I was going through it. But now that I look back, I was like, wow, I can actually see how that actually did serve me. So that's what I mean. It's like, instead of looking at things, oh, it's happening to me, it's happening for you. That gets you out of being a victim. Number 5, another important one is drop toxic friendships. You know those friends that I'm talking about, the ones that are like, they might crack a joke at your expense and get a group of people to laugh at you along with them. They're not real friends, right? Anyone that's putting you down some type of way, even if it is in a joking way, isn't a true friend. When people do that, it actually brings your energetic state of being down into a more low vibrational state. So this is why I say drop those friends, drop the toxic friendships, the ones that are all into negativity and drama and gossiping, the ones that will gossip about you behind your back, but then act all nice to your face, those sorts of people. So just be mindful, or just start, I guess, developing awareness around the friendships you have in your life, and start figuring out who's actually valuing you and who isn't. And the people that aren't, just drop them, distance yourself from them. They're not going to serve you in any type of way. And also, out with the old and with the new. If you have these standards with friendships, you get rid of these toxic people, you're opening up space for better people to come into your life. And again, these toxic friendships aren't going to serve you. They're just going to drag your energy down. So there's no point in wasting your time with them. Number 6. This is another important one. Well, I think all of them are important. But number 6 is inner work, healing, and forgiveness. So because I had a lot of, issues from, like, unhealed issues from my childhood, and carrying a lot of this, unhealed traumas and wounds around with me, I had the realization that I just needed to work on myself. And that's going back to the first one, where you want that change, right? You want the change. So part of having that change is you're having to do the inner work, healing, and forgiveness. You may have to revisit your childhood. That's what I had to do, right? And so, like I mentioned, how I had to forgive my dad. Once I'd done that, I felt a change, a shift in my energy. It left my energetic field, this resentment and anger I was hanging on to, and I felt really light in my energy. And now we get along good, like we have a good relationship. So you need to understand though, forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person. You can forgive someone without telling them that you've forgiven them. You can forgive someone without allowing them back into your life. You don't have to talk to them again. It's for you, not the other person. Forgiveness is where you decide that you're going to be at peace with the situation and you let go of those negative emotions of like anger and resentment. And so that's what inner work healing and forgiveness is all about, is just going through these situations that we've had with other people, family, friends, whatever that's gone on, doing this work, healing these parts of ourselves, forgiving people. You forgive people, like I said, because you understand that forgiveness is actually for you, not the other person. And when you let go of these, when you forgive and let go, it clears it out of your energy field. And it's going to put you in a better energetic state. You're going to feel so much better about yourself, or just about life in general. So like I said, I had to do inner work and healing and forgiveness with my mum as well, and my siblings and my stepdad, like all of them. I had to go through the process. But now I went from being like angry as F with them and like having nothing to do with them, to now getting along with everyone in my family, good relationships, baking them amazing cakes for their birthdays, because I'm a cake decorator as well. And like everything's all, the energy between us all is positive now. So I highly recommend doing the inner work, healing and forgiveness. Now, number 7 is meditation. Everyone needs to be meditating because it is so beneficial to us and our health, and we just haven't been taught to do it, right? We grow up, we haven't been taught the importance of doing it, why we should do it. I used to think meditating was stupid because I was ignorant, and I didn't understand why people were just sitting there like, and I thought, I used to make fun of it, like, and then I learned the actual reason why people meditate. One of the main reasons is that it trains you to be calm in a stressful situation. And because I was the type of person that had anger issues, and I was very short-tempered, and it didn't take much for me to get fiery and snap, like I said, you want that change, you get sick of your own bullshit. So when I learned that meditation trains you to be calm in a stressful situation, I was like, oh, that's actually pretty dope. Like, yeah, I want to learn this skill. And so that was my way of dealing with my anger issues, as well as doing the healing and the forgiveness. But learning to, like, training myself to be able to stay calm. And so meditation is just great for so many other reasons as well. It's really good for our brain and nervous system, just to have that little bit of a break. It's like, there are so many benefits. It's because when you meditate as well, you're being more focused in your inner world instead of the outer world. And this is where all these benefits come from. So I highly recommend incorporating some form of meditation in your daily life. And like, even 5 minutes of meditation is going to be beneficial to you. Like, if you don't have a lot of time and you're like, well, I don't have time to sit down and do that, 5 minutes on your lunch break. If you've got kids, do it with your kids and teach them these amazing skills that they can take into adulthood. Because like I said, there's so many health benefits to doing this. We should all be doing it. Now, the last one, number 8. This is like another perspective shift in a way, but you need to take 100%, said that wrong, and you need to take 100% responsibility in your life, the good and the bad. Accountability is key. When you do this, it's like I said, a perspective change. When you do this, that's when life gets good. When you take responsibility for everything that's going on, life gets good, because you're not putting the blame on everyone else, and you're not being in that victim mindset. Something's gone a bit wrong in your life, that's on me. Something's gone good, yeah, that's on me. Take 100%, why can't I say that? Take 100% responsibility, and you will be much happier, okay? So those are the 8 things, the 8 things I've done that got me out of being this negative, angry, pessimistic person to someone that's like positive and high vibrational. And I now even get comments from people who come to my house, and then they tell me that, like, heaps of people tell me this, when they leave, they always leave my house in a more high vibrational state. They leave feeling more positive and happy. And that's because energy is contagious, because I'm in a positive and happy state. But it is funny because, like, I've got people that will vouch for this, on how much I've evolved, how much I've grown as a person, how much I've changed for the better. and how much I used to be an angry little psycho. So you can do it too. You can honestly have this 180 turnaround. You can become a better person, but the first step is just wanting to change. That's where you got to start. I hope you like this video. Give me a thumbs up if you got some sort of value, or write a comment. And if you like this sort of content, then subscribe and hit the bell notification. I drop 5 videos a week, so I hope I see you on the next one. Have an awesome day. Peace.